Okay, welcome back for the next lesson, an activity that's going to be in your work guide. So this is the Graphing Lab. We're on slide 6 of 8, still working out of the Prolog work guide. In this case here, at the moment, I don't have this video loaded into here. This is an example only right now. So please realize that there will be a video here for you to click. So when you move to slide 7 of 8 for the Graphing Lab, realize that you will have an opportunity to click an access point and to get your notes. So where we are is going to be after our independent practice, we have the Graphing Sunspot Lab. If you click to open the access point, you will have this open simultaneously on another tab. I would suggest the easiest place to work off of will be the access point rather than the one in your notes. But if you need to see something more clearly that was photocopied, the original PDF of the notes may help you. All right, so here we've got our vocabulary, which you should be able to fill out. You have some procedures. However, the procedures have slightly changed. I'm not asking you to graph all these points. I'm rather asking you to interpret and to extrapolate using this data rather than just plotting it. So down here, I have already plotted for you all the points and connected them with a time scale down on our x-axis. We also have here the average annual sunspot number. Now, there are going to be questions associated with the graph, such as what's the pattern? You'll be asked about what maxima and minima are, which I'll get to shortly using these access points to discuss that. You will be asked to calculate averages. You will also be asked to predict and or extrapolate, and you will also be asked to explain. One of the things you'll probably be wondering is, Mr. Ryan, where are we going to record all of this information? So if we go back to our work guide, here, depending on the period class you are assigned to, regardless of your cohort, so even if you're cohort A, B, C, or D for period 8, you will click this link here. If you're period 3, you will click this link here, no matter if you are cohort A, B, C, or D. And when you click that, it will take you to the assignments page, where you can have access to click the Graphing Lab, or Graphing Sunspots Lab, and you have your report page. Within this report page, I have given you boxes to fill out information for your vocabulary, like I showed you on the first page of the access point for this Graph Lab. Discussion questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, with blank spaces for you to fill in that information, as well as a place for you to record your conclusion answer. And then you should check it. Make sure you check maybe authenticity, depending on whether or not I've checked for that in this assignment, and then submit. So let's get over to here so that we can talk about what time spans are, based on whether you're dealing with maximas or minimas. For nature's purposes, if you think about something that's maximum, it's a lot, right? So if we're talking about maxima, we're talking about the highest points on a graph. If we're talking about minimum meaning low, we're talking about minimas being the lowest points on these graphs. Okay? This is a sketch connecting all the maxima and minima over time. So in my example here, I am showing you that the maximas have a certain year that they occur on. If the first one occurred in 1960, and the next one occurred in 1968, there are 8 years between those two maxima, meaning that this is your first time span. You can then solve for time spans beyond that first one and realize you have 3 values in years that you could take the average of. So if I am doing the average of these 3 numbers, I then will be calculating the average time span for maxima. Here is a formula for it. So if I were to continue to solve this, my 8 years would go in time span 1, 7 years time span 2, 8 years time span 3. And then to take an average, you're then dividing by the number of values you've added here. In our case, it's 3. So I've got 8 plus 7 plus 8 divided by 3. It's going to give us an average of 7.7 years, which is our average time span for sunspot maxima. You can repeat this process using the minimas. You'll be needing to do that in order to complete some of your discussion questions. Also, keep in mind that one cycle, based on our definition's cyclic relationship, we have from maxima to minima to maxima. The relationship is high to low, back to high. Then we go to low, back to high. So it acts like a circle, except we see it linearly. From maximum to maximum, that is one cycle. That will also help you in this lab. There's your setup. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, send messages in. You can maybe talk across your partners that are 6 feet of distance from you, and we can continue the lab that way. Once you're done with submitting your laboratory and it is complete, you will go to your final checkpoint. Final checkpoint will be before a quiz assessment. Okay? For graphing, we're not going to be doing a quiz assessment, but for future ones, we will. Here are the directions that I'm asking of you to complete. Again, it's another check-in at the end, self-assessment, and you can click the banner in order to get you to the form to fill that out. That's all I've got for now. I'll see you in the next one.